Dear student, now we are going to start chapter number 3, United Nations. As we have studied chapter number 2, Birkenhead, now this chapter is very important, United Nations, we are going to start. So this chapter is divided into 3 parts. Number 1, why UNO was established? What are the reasons for the establishment of the UNO? How many departments they are working, like General Assembly, Security Council, the best platform in the world that we can discuss problems over there. And how many branches, like what sort of working and how many branches are working, like IB, International Bank, WHO, World Health Organization, UNICEF, United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, UNESCO, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, ILO, International Labour Organization, FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. All of them, these are the branches of the UNO. So, UNO was established on 24th October 1945 when Second World War was going to an end. Now, before the establishment of UNO, before the foundation of the UNO, first League of Nations, first international organization after First World War. Previously, that organization was there, League of Nations. After the First World War, there comes Second World War. It started in 1939 and ended in 1945. So, League of Nations was failure to stop war. Consecutive war, there was no gap between war, like from the First World War, it broke out in 1914 till 1918, and Second World War broke out in 1939 till 1945. So, because of the failure of the League of Nations, all the country came together and the UNO was established. But before establishment, there were so many dialogues and there were so many agreements, like 1941 Inter-Allied Declaration, and 1941 Atlantic Charter, and 1942 Declaration of the UN, and 1943 Moscow Declaration, and number 5 Tehran Declaration 1943, number 6 Dumbarton Oak Conference 1944, and Yalta Conference in 1945, San Francisco Conference in 1945. Later on, before discussion, before argument, at that time, the President of America, I have written here, Franklin D. Roosevelt. So, when the country decided that we needed one platform, we needed one like the organization that can stop war between the countries, that can solve problem between the countries, then finally UNO was organized on 24th October 1945. And though UNO has succeeded in many cases to stop war between countries, but the unsatisfactory conditions among the world, among the different countries, and the quarrel occurred. And at that time when the war occurred, after the Second World War, there were so many problems. Millions of people died and their property, millions or trillions of property destroyed, and people were homeless and hunger was there. People were contacting with one another from one part of the world to the different part of the world. Overall, the condition was critical at that time. Everybody was in hue and cry. Then the nation came together. Then they said that we don't want war, we want peace. Let us hope that peace will prevail, and the organization came into being, and like the hope for the nation or for the countries at that time aroused, people came together and the UNO was established. The headquarters of the UNO is in America. So the purpose of the UNO or motive or aim of the UNO, I have written, to establish peace. Now UNO said that preventing war is very difficult task. How preventing war is very difficult task? Because no nation in which quarrels didn't occur. Quarrels occurred in every nation, either it is water issue or any sort of issue among the countries. these quarrel may outbreak of war, the reason of the war. So the purpose of UNO is to fight against the poverty, ignorance, diseases, and there are so many problems in nations and among the nations to solve the problem, to solve these little quarrel in order to prevent war among the nation. So UN, the results are not as satisfactory as people demand, like the Palestine issue and the Kashmir issue still are there. The tension between India and Pakistan is still there. But UNO and their branches are working successfully throughout the world. Like in that organization, people from different countries, they are working together and to create goodwill and harmony and brotherhood among the people. So they are trying their level best to create peace among the countries. Now these branches are working positively. These branches are working in the different part of the world. On the one side, there was war. There was aggression and there was destruction, but on the other end there are innovations, scientific invention and aeroplane and the different parts with the social network and communication. They were connecting with one another and people were enjoying at that time the facilities of the scientific technology. Later on they settled, and when they came out of the war they become settled with the operation in the different part of the countries, and the people become settled, and then they decided that we want an organization that create goodwill and peace among the nation. So UNO and their branches, they are working successfully. Now second part, now how General Assembly and the Security Council. General Assembly is the main principal organ of the UNO and one of the best platform in the world to discuss or to dialogue and to solve the problem among the countries. General Assembly can ask any kind of question related to terrorism, related to war, related to peace from any country. So approximately all countries of the world have representation in the General Assembly, and every country has only one vote. One country send their 5 representatives. Why they can send their 5 representatives? Because every person has every caliber and every person has different specialties. For example, he's an engineer or he's a doctor or he's a professor. So engineer cannot solve the problem of the professor or doctors. So they can send their 5 representative. Now the problem is to solve the quarrels among the nations, and General Assembly can ask any sort of question. They can select their president and each sitting. So General Assembly has equal representation, equal membership of all the nations of the world. And Security Council. Now Security Council has 15 members. Out of 15 members, 5 are veto power countries. Now, what set of countries they have veto power? Or veto power means to exercise any special power, decision power, like China, France, UK, USA, Russia. These 5 countries have veto power, and other 10 countries are there. So they have 15 country membership. Out 5 are permanent member, I told you, veto power countries, and out of other 10, 3 countries elected for 2 years term. They other change the countries. So the basic purpose of that Security Council is to solve the problem among the countries. And meetings occurred and general discussions occurred. So later on, I have written there, Antonio Guterres is the General Secretary of the UNO, and he was he took office on January 1, 2017. So before that, we know that there were other General Secretary, they were performing their duties. So they have different responsibilities. Under the supervision of the General Secretary, 3,500 persons, they are working like they are under the supervision of the General Secretary. So General Secretary is appointed by General Assembly with the approval of the Security Council for the 5-year terms. The purpose of the Secretary General is to conduct meetings and to resolve the problem and to solve the problem among the nations, and they give briefing to the media, and they solve different tussles and the conflict among the nation, either it is war related issue or terrorism related issues or the water dispute. So they have soundproof cabin when the member came from the different countries of the world. So they deliver speeches in their different languages. So they translate, they have soundproof cabin, they translate language, and so they can understand it easily. So they translate language into different languages, and they sent to media and other press conferences. They kept in their own record with the scientific method and the calculation and technology they used. So this is the platform for the solutions of so many problems like General Assembly, Security Council, and I have discussed Secretariat, and there are other so many people. They are working under the supervision of the General Secretary. As I told you, UNO has also organized inland water tour transport to solve the problem of the water related issue or shipyard. So members from the Asian country, India, Pakistan, Burma, and Indonesia, they visited European countries like the Germany, Netherlands, Scotland. They have seen different kinds of ships over there, and they studied the scientific way, the what sort of ship they are using for the transport purpose and how they become useful in the Asian countries. So when they sorted out, and they promised, the Asian country promised, we will not copy, we will not imitate, we will follow the rules and regulation, and we will maintain and we will invent our own, like these kind of the modern ships, because half of the population of the world, they live like under the coastal areas and on the rivers, on the coastal rivers. So they have studied a scientific problem, and on 24th October when UNO came into being, they discussed that we will solve problem and we will create peace and goodwill among the nations. So now I will discuss the different branches in my next lecture. So thank you for listening.